All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons, who are in a very unique situation as a lot of people feel like they had a lot of talent last year. They're kind of a darling to be like a sneaky playoff team, and they had a real chance. I mean, I still think about that game against Tampa Bay when they had a lead in the fourth quarter. If they held on and won that game, there's a really good chance they're in the playoffs. They would have had to finish the season strong, which they very much didn't. But maybe had they won that game, they would have still been, it would have been easier for them to finish this season strong. A lot of people love the talent on the roster. I was always a little bit lower on it because I care a lot about quarterbacks and I didn't trust the quarterback situation. Arthur Smith ended up being kind of the fall guy here, but how did they improve from here? How did they get better? Well, let's get into it. First, let's look at their cap space and cash situation. So this doesn't look spectacular, but it looks like all right. Hey, $84 million in cash is pretty good. $34 million in cap space is pretty good. It's not top of the league, but that's definitely something that's optimistic. Where it gets really exciting, if you're a Falcons fan, is they don't have hardly any key free agents. The two I looked at were Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree, but that's $11 million. If you want to keep those guys, you can. I think they'd be fine if they let them both walk. They don't need both of those guys by any means. So what that tells you is, hey, you have some cap space, you can use it. And they came off of what I thought was maybe the free agent signing of the season last year, at least if we're not talking quarterbacks, of Jesse Bates, who was amazing for them. I when I did my awards, I said Jesse Bates should have won Defensive Player of the Year. I thought he was that good. He was amazing at the safety position. The safety's never going to win that award, even though they sometimes should. But, just in general, that was a great move for them, and maybe if they can hit on another one of those game-changing type moves, that's where things get interesting. Now, there's a reason they have some cap space, right? And it's because they're not paying a quarterback. And, my frustration with the Falcons last year was that they had a really talented roster and they were neglecting the quarterback position, and that just never goes well. It just, Desmond Ridder was a third-round pick who in his rookie year played like a third-round pick. This year he played like a third-round pick. Let's move off of him, right? Not even move off of him, but let's make sure he's not our only option. Let's try to get a plan A in here. Ridder can be the plan B. For free agency, these are the list of free agent quarterbacks that they could look towards. Now, some of these guys, I'm planning on uploading this a few days after I'm recording it, so it's possible some of these guys have re-signed with their team or whatever, but, the Cousins and Mayfield are obviously the two big ticket guys. Mayfield would be interesting. I know everyone's assuming he's going to go back to Tampa Bay, but I don't know. I'd give him a call, right? I mean, as a Tampa Bay fan, I'd be very bummed if that happened. That'd be annoying, but maybe that's an extra reason to do it, to annoy Tampa Bay fans and to screw over a division rival, because that's actually not the worst idea in the world, right? If you're in between Cousins or Mayfield, why not go after Mayfield? Screw over a division rival. I'm not sure if they'll go either direction here. I'm not sure if either of these guys are going to hit the open market. It's interesting. I think Ryan Tannehill is an interesting option because he is someone who, ran to Arthur Smith's scheme. And while this team is very much, that Arthur Smith is gone now, team is still built to run that scheme. So again, it's an interesting option. Gardner Minshew, Jacoby Brissett, I think are probably better players. Jameis Winston, I think, would be a lot of fun in that offense. Tyrod Taylor's another guy. These are the key free agents and how many millions of dollars projected it would be to get them. I also, when I did my quarterback carousel thing of where I'm projecting each quarterback to go to, and for the Falcons, I went with Justin Fields. I think they would make the most sense for a trade because, again, they don't have a great draft pick. They can't go out and just get a guy right away, but maybe a Justin Fields situation, put him in a good offense and see how that, him and Bijan, that would be very exciting, right? So that's definitely something that I'm interested in. So, those are the quarterbacks they could go out and get. They could get rid of Taylor Heineke if they want to. That would save $7 million. So there is ways to clear up a little bit of money as well if they wanted to do this. And again, if you're going out and adding a quarterback, if you're trading for Justin Fields, well, you don't want Heineke and Ridder. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. I thought Heineke was a little better than Ridder last year, but I don't know if it was a massive enough difference to, care that much. And Ridder's younger, so I'd probably, and wouldn't save $7 million to cut, so I'd probably cut Heineke if you do go out and get a Justin Fields type. That's how I view it. So yeah, to reiterate, this is their situation: $38 million in projected cap space, $84 million in projected cash, $11 million would be how much it costs to re-sign their players, so that's very good, and it could save $7 million if they wanted to. So what's crazy is they could totally go out and do this. They could sign a Kirk Cousins, which is just an interesting thought. right? Like, it's an interesting theory of, is that something you consider going out and doing? Now, I think Cousins might end up getting, I think he's going to get over 40 million. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets like in the 50s range. I think that's within the realm of possibility. Again, maybe this is already aged poorly, and I'm making an idiot out of myself by saying that. But is that a move you want to make? I don't know, because it probably makes you a playoff team, but does it make you a Super Bowl contender? That I'm not sure about. But this is a talented roster who has the free agent space, and is, I think, an interesting team to look at there in terms of the quarterback situation. As for non-quarterback stuff, like, listen, I still think there's some defensive stuff they could improve upon. I do. I think that they're not a completely perfect team, and I'd like to get them to have another receiver in the building as well. And if you want to say, let's not go out and pay big money for a quarterback, instead let's get a Jameis Winston or a Justin Fields, something like that. I wouldn't hate the idea of just, I don't know, sign a Marquise Brown, sign a Curtis Samuel, like just get another option in the building. So, Pitts and London can be your 1 and 2, but then you have other options that can come in and do things that way, which I think could make some sense. So, yeah, I think that they're in a unique situation. Atlanta is. I'm still going to kind of wait on saying, well, they'll be much better this year. Because, again, I did mention, and I think Arthur Smith was kind of the fall guy. Not to say he didn't deserve to be fired or, didn't have his issues. But just, I think that there's always going to be some people that say, once the coach is gone, that was our issue. Now, Drake London, 1,500-yard season coming. Kyle Pitts, 2,000-yard season coming. Bijan Robinson, 3,000-yard season coming. We're going to be awesome. Where it's like, listen, it's not always that simple. And while, yes, I think Arthur Smith was a big part of the problem and why, like, the superstar talented receivers weren't getting a ton of yards and that stuff, I don't think he was the only issue. And I think part of it was the quarterback play, and part of it was, a lot of times Drake London, I felt like he was just doing it all himself, didn't it? Didn't it always feel like it's like, okay, here he comes again. It's, throwing it up in double coverage with Drake London. He's somehow finding a way to make a play, but like, man, you're really asking a lot of him. Well, I don't know. If you're throwing a Curtis Samuel over the middle and getting the 18 yards that way because Drake London is double covered, well, that might make it, now you have to single cover Drake London and he can get 40 yards down the field. That's another thing that I would think could help out this unit. So they're an exciting team. They're a team that, like, man, if they can get the quarterback down, they'd be fun to watch. If they did get a big ticket quarterback, or even Jameis Winston would be electric on this team, wouldn't he? Gardner Minshew would be electric on this team. Like, there's interesting ways for this team to go, and I do think that they're a team that, if they don't get the quarterback situation down, I think they'll be for another year of not great football. I think if they do get the quarterback situation down, they could easily be a playoff team and maybe even more than that. So, yeah, that's kind of how I view Atlanta and where I consider them to be. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the Atlanta Falcons? Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.